This week on HomeKit News, the Airversa Purell air purifier with HomeKit and Thread. So today we're looking at a brand new smart air purifier, namely the Purell from Airversa. And although smart purifiers are reasonably common now, with this not something that may appear different, the Purell is actually the very first purifier for HomeKit that uses Thread. To get the best out of it, you do need a HomePod Mini or the latest Apple TV, but it doesn't connect directly to your Wi-Fi network, which for me is a plus, and you can still use Bluetooth if you don't have a board or router. Aside from that, here are some specs for its cleaning ability, bearing in mind this is for small to medium sized rooms only. Do press the pause button if required. Along with the specs, here are some of the features, which include a sleep mode, a child lock, and a touch display for manual control, which we'll look at in a bit. As always, feel free to skip to the chapter that interests you, but carrying on, let's have a look at what's included in the box. So first off is a standard power supply with a coaxial connector, which in my case comes with a North American Type A plug. A manual in English is also included as a HomeKit code, and if you lose it, there is another code on the device itself. Finally, we have the air purifier itself, and as you can probably see, it's quite compact, weighing just under 3 kilos or 6.5 pounds, and my first impressions are that it feels quite solidly constructed. Generally speaking, it's comparable in both size and power to offerings from SmartMe, Meros and Sensibo, with some comparisons I'll touch upon later in the video. For now, we'll have a look at the touch display which I mentioned earlier. At the bottom there's a red power button that's always on except in sleep mode, along with a network connection icon for the Thread network. Once turned on, you see the PM2.5 levels in large digits at the centre, as well as a colour LED ring that helps you identify air quality levels. There's a fan icon that allows you to manually adjust the fan speed, with 5 speeds available plus sleep mode. Right next to the fan speed button is an auto mode button that allows the purifier to automatically change speed depending on the air quality, and after that is a clock icon that's used to set the purifier to be on for a set amount of time. This can be set for up to 24 hours, and with the app you also have control over minutes. Next is the sleep mode button. Once activated, this brings the fan to lower than the lowest standard speed, and after a few seconds turns the entire display off, which can be turned on again by pressing any button. To the other side is a filter indicator which will flash when it's time to replace your filters. Yes, filters plural, but underneath the PM2.5 numbers you also have a line of 5 dashes that indicate the remaining life of the filter, with each dash representing roughly 20% of the filter life available. Finally, we have a child lock so your little ones can't unintentionally activate or deactivate the air purifier. Long pressing this turns the lock on, after which all controls on the display become locked until such time as you long press the button again to turn the child lock off. As a side note, if you go looking for Airversa products, they do make a smaller desktop version, the Purell Mini, along with a waterless aroma diffuser. Both of these don't come with any smart capabilities, however. Earlier I mentioned filters in the plural, so I'll just show you these and how they're replaced. Similar to the SmartMe P1, the base of the unit is where the filters are removed. The touch display is slightly recessed, so turning it upside down won't scratch the display, although it's still better to rest it on a cloth anyway. You then turn the handle to remove the lid to reveal 2 small filters, one for each side. These, as you can see, simply slot into place where the vents on each side of the Purell are situated. You can see that compared to a tubular filter, these are quite small, which I think is a good thing for shipping costs, if nothing else. These are standard filters with a pre-filter to catch hairs and other fibres, a HEPA 13 filter to catch PM2.5, and an active carbon layer to tackle smoke and odours. So as you can see, although it does take 2 filters, I've been told a pair of these would be as cheap, if not cheaper, than filters from other manufacturers and with less packaging. Time for some comparisons to other purifiers in the same class, starting with the Meros, which doesn't actually have a PM2.5 sensor, has less coverage, but is quite cheap. The SmartMe P1 is almost the same size, has a slightly larger coverage, but the filters are more expensive. Finally to the Sensibo, which has the lowest coverage with the most expensive replacement filters at $60 each. Let's go back to the Purell and Thread. So if we go into the Eve for HomeKit app, click the Settings tab, then select Thread Network, you can see my Thread devices start to show up. At the top of the screen, I've got 3 Thread Nanoleaf bulbs, the Wemo Stage wireless button, the Air Versa of course, an Eve Energy smart plug, a couple of Eve Motion smart blinds, and then my HomePods Mini. Jumping back to the Air Versa again, and you can see that it's using Thread. It acts as a router as well as being fully router eligible, which means it's able to spread the Thread network. The Sleek Point app for Air Versa offers all the same features and a couple more, including a chart that shows air quality over time, sleep mode, as well as control over the brightness of both the LED ring and the display. You can also fine-tune the countdown timers using minutes as well as hours, as well as create schedules that also allow you to set many other parameters as part of those schedules. Back to the display, and here's a demo of the built-in light sensor that adjusts the LED ring's brightness when it gets dark. Obviously the display would still be too bright when you're sleeping, but in those instances you're already covered via sleep mode. Next we'll look at the Air Versa in the Home app. So you get the one tile to turn the unit on and off, with a long press revealing a button and a slider to turn it on and off and adjust the fan speed. The slider is set at 20% increments to align with the 5 preset speeds. In the settings panel there are 2 accessories listed, one of which is the air purifier itself. If we dive into that you get a bit more detailed control, including the child lock and manual or auto control. The other accessory is the PM2.5 sensor, which displays the overall air quality as well as the PM2.5 density. Going back to the Eve app, and that offers a couple of extras not exposed to the Home app, namely a mute control for the Purell system sounds and filter life. Now, as nice as it is, we should test the Purell, so I'm going to light a match, then extinguish it to create some smoke, and as you can see, the PM2.5 numbers start to climb. The LED ring has 5 colours to reflect the 5 pollution levels, with green showing the lowest level of air pollution. Now I've sped the video up here, but you can see the numbers come down as the purifier gets to work. Just to show that clean air is being pushed out whilst the surrounding air is polluted, I'll place my Qingping air monitor light on the fan so you can see the clean air having an effect on the readings. Finally, to the pros and cons, starting with the fact that this uses Thread, which is a great start as I'm really looking forward to getting as much stuff off direct Wi-Fi as possible in my home, so this helps a lot. The display that also allows control over the unit is nicely laid out and very clear, so it's easy to use manually for anyone. As it's designed for small to medium sized rooms, it's quite compact and is generally the smallest of the ones previously mentioned. Dual filters versus singular tubular filters might seem odd, but with less shipping costs and less packaging, I feel that's a positive. One slight downside is that some things aren't exposed to the Home app, even if they're available in third-party apps. This may be the fault of Apple, of course, but with sleep mode not exposed to HomeKit at all, as far as I could see, this is the only real negative I could find. Other than that, to have a device like this connected to Thread is quite refreshing compared to lights and smart plugs, and regardless of that, the Purell does everything it's meant to, and I like the design. The size is perfect for its location, so it definitely has its own place on the market, at least for now. So that's a wrap on our overview of the Air Versa Purell Smart Air Purifier with Thread, but as always, let me know your thoughts or if you have any questions, and do subscribe if you haven't already. In the meantime, stay safe and look up the word Boogaloo.